Okay, people, let's lock in for this week's Talker Tuesday live stream with me, your host, Winter's SEO. We're ready. We've got some electrolytes on the tap here. Heresy Squat has just came in and dropped a £10 donation off the bat. GG's in the chat for Heresy Squat, please. Let's give him all the love. It's like I barely finished a sentence and we've also already got a donation for the room that cannot be mentioned. We don't mention it. It's thank you. I appreciate you. Much love. Appreciate you all. I appreciate everyone who watches, all the subscribers, and I really appreciate the members who help support this. I mean, this is content, is it? This is content. I was downstairs. There's no word of a lie, chat. I was downstairs happily watching Will from Work and Jack Frags and Tomographic slay out as ODST on the Helldiver bug home planet like that. I've just had some chicken burgers for dinner and she was like, "Are you going to live stream this evening?" I was like, "What?" She's like, "Are you going to live stream this evening?" I live stream every Tuesday. I never do it on a Wednesday. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. She said, "Well, it's nearly time." And I was like, "Is it Tuesday?" So that happened. It's not that I love you guys. It's not I didn't forget you. I love you. Thank you for keeping this going. I was just in a happy place watching YouTube. There's much better content. So this is professional. I appreciate that you like this content, whatever this is. You know, this is a humble person talking to his community about Warhammer things. This is what this is. But good evening, Joseph True. We've got Greg Shimonin has dropped 10 gifted memberships. Can we get some GGs in the chat for Greg Shimonin, please? That's epic. Thank you very much. I can go now, can't I? I've done my job. We've locked in. We've said hello. We've got all the donos. We can go now. Put that up there. That's in the way up there. That's good. Right. And then, but yeah, thank you very much for your 10 donations, 10 chat memberships. If you've received a channel membership, then you have access to the Discord. Jump in, the water's warm. Join the bestest Warhammer community in the world. They're really nice, really positive people. I love my community. So positive. No trolling going on, except to me, which is fine. I like being trolled. It's funny. Yeah, so where are we? Tell Crusader, Admac Goat Meat. Nice name. Jackus Woods, Ben, Heresy Squat, Tom Blakely, Turtle Crusader. Welcome everyone. Greg Shinner has also been a member for 37 months, which is a very long time. Are we yelling at clouds? We never yell at clouds, Greg Shimonen. We are not old men yelling at clouds. We're positive. We're professional. We never say anything inappropriate. We don't slag off Swindon or other places in the world. And we never ever swear. We are professional. We're not yelling. No clouds to yell at today. In fact, we have a topic. When I came upstairs, like broken out of my YouTubing stupor, I'm like, what are we going to talk about today? And something has been on my mind, because there's some 11th edition chat. There's been what? We are yelling at Games Workshop. Yeah, we don't yell at clouds. We yell at Glade. That's fine. If you're not mad at Games Workshop, are you really Warhammering? I think it's like part of the hobby. Yeah, something that's been on my mind, because there's already rumours are swirling. There's things happening in the background. We hear things, rumblings from the pit about the next edition. And I was wondering, what do you guys want to see in the next edition? What are you looking forward to? What are your hopes and fears? But mainly, 11th edition Warhammer 40k needs this. What does it need to take it to that next level? I got some ideas, but I want to hear your ideas. Evening, Woodsy. Yeah. Some ideas of what 11th edition 40, what would make it better? You know. I'll start you off. On one. I did a video right at the start of 10th edition saying, hey, 10th edition's got one mission in the main rulebook. We've got this Pariah Nexus cards here. It was Leviathan back then. These are very nice. but one mission in the main rulebook ain't going to cut it. I look forward to the day, in this edition, no doubt, when they release a mission pack, a narrative mission pack, an open card deck, a Maelstrom of War deck, or a campaign book like Cities of Death or Planet, something narrative, something casual for the majority of their audience, let's face it. And it never happened in 10th edition. Never happened. What's going on there? You have to maybe wait till 11th. Clarky, thank you for your donation. Is P90 staying this Tuesday? We have no P90. He's downstairs currently. Thank you for your GG's. He was upstairs for hours today, and then the chicken got made, and then he came downstairs very, very quickly, where he was chilling next to me on the sofa watching the YouTubes, and then he hasn't gone upstairs. A separate narrative book filled with optional rules for anything and everything. Give us flavour. Separate narrative filled with everything. Your wish list is a separate narrative book filled with everything and anything. That would like pizza. That would be lovely. Pizza in a book. We need to think, what is happening? Go away on the thing. Right. Streamlined rules, less bloat. I mean, they're pretty streamlined. In the main rule book, they're pretty streamlined. If you think about the core bit, here's my take on it. The core bit of 10th edition is actually quite good. The bit in the main rule book, how the movement phase works, how the shooting phase works, how the charge phase, all of that is actually quite good. I'd like to see more USRs. We've got USRs like lethal hits, devastating wounds, feel no pain, lone op. But some of the USRs are spread out of the USR page is only about weapons, and then lone op, feel no pain, and those things are in other bits. I would like to see them added into the USR bit, and more USRs, more universal rules in that big bit there, and then less bloat in the codexes, because what they could do is when you've got special abilities, they could refer to the USRs. Reroll hits and rending and shredding and all those sorts of that could be in the USRs. But I don't think we're going to get that. I think they like the idea that every single book has its own things and its own stratagems. And I think they like keeping it all over the place and making us work. Even though that there's rules like Artificer Armor and Armor of Contempt, and there's many rules copy and pasted across many different books with many different words in, which mean the same thing, which is why USRs would, that's what, that would be nice. Where are we? Yeah, open war and narrative book would be, yes. High Wolfbook Chronicles, yes. Scrap it all and hard reset to 8th. Dude. 8th was, will they go back? It made them lots and lots of money, but would they go back? Could they go back to something similar? The first half of 8th. Remember, the second half of 8th was Psychic Awakening, and then the second waves of codexes. They screwed everything up. But in the first half of 8th, it was really nice. Because I know you won't touch the target rule setters, but some of my bands give us a separate rule book with one for the YouTube. Yeah, that's a couple of people talking about dividing tournament from the thing or giving extra rules for the. What you could do is in the main rulebook you can have the main rules, and then in the main rulebook you could have a tournament mission pack, and then in the tournament mission pack there's the rule of 3, or you can't do this or that, or you can do this or that, and it only needs to be a couple of pages long. Maybe not a tournament mission pack, but a competitive games mission pack. Like, here's the core rules. However, if you want to play it with competitively, then here's the additions and here's the restrictions. Something like that. That would be really good. That would be really banging. I've been shouting about it since I've had a YouTube channel. They ain't listening. 8th edition point scoring was better. Yeah, so what is... yeah, that's, it's... Well, yes. Scrap it, reset to 7th. How about more pre-releases, playtesting, so codexes... yes, it'd be nice if codexes didn't need a day 1 patch. You get a codex and it's changed already. What is that all about? I think they should just take the points out of the codexes at this point. Just take them out. And then in the back of the book, say, hey, if you want the points, scan this thing, go there. Just take them out. No reset. I only just got my codex. Reduce the number of attacks in shooting and melee, less rolling, re-rolling. And reduce the... Yeah, there's a lot. You know, there's buckets of dice now. And then you roll them all. And everything hits on 2s anyway. And everything re-rolls 1s or re-rolls everything anyway. There's a lot. Isn't it just... It's so killy that it's like... It's trading. It's trading. I want to trade that for this. I'm going to move around, get my points. And then kill that thing. And this... It's... There's... Yeah. But if it wasn't so killy... Then have you noticed like 2,000 point armies now are the size of 3,000 point armies from a... They need it to be really killy because we've got more stuff because everything goes down in points because then you need more points to get to 2,000 points. I think that's a tactic there. Like 2,000 points now was about 3,000 points in 8th edition. And then if you look at, there's a YouTube channel, I forget the name of it, and they do 2nd edition Warhammer 40k battle reports. Do loads of them, it's great. And their 2,000 point armies, or 1,000 point armies, are like 3 men in a dreadnought. It's nothing. There's nothing there. But now the points have gone down and down. I wonder, like in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 2,000 points on the table won't entirely fit in your deployment zone. There's a law of diminishing returns to make stuff cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So we have to bring more and more and more of it. There's a point where that has to reach an event horizon, right, before it slips into a black hole. And we're all like Sam Neill gouging our eyes out saying, the invention of warp travel, event horizon. What a great film. Definitely Warhammer 40k canon. Lock in, chat. We're gonna put the world to right tonight. We're gonna build an 11th edition wish list. Games Workshop will watch this stream. They'll love this stream. They'll take your ideas and turn it into 12th edition because 11th edition's already written. Wolves and Templars. What are we talking about? Eternal Crusade. Yes, Space Marines should not be a Horde army. Yes, Space Marines should not be a Horde army, and they're pretty hordy right now. One core rule set that's actually play tested. Yeah. Again, let's have some play testing. I think they do play test. The Mournival do play test the rules. How much they're able to influence. See, this is from, let me tell you a story, right? Let me tell you a story. I may have said this story before, but the names have been removed to protect the innocent. But I know some people who went along for a play test for a certain edition. And they play tested, and it was at Games Workshop, and they played it. There was like 100 people in their main hall. It was closed off for the day, and they play tested it for a week, talking to the rules designers, talking to the games designers, talking to the studio designers, play testing this particular edition. And they said, yeah, thanks for the feedback, thanks for the feedback. They're writing it all down. And then on the Friday at lunchtime, some people came down from upstairs somewhere, like from on high, and said, yeah, we're really looking forward to launching the next edition. Here's the box. Here's the rules. Here's all the miniatures that come in with it. Isn't it great? Aren't we great? And then the 100 people in the hall were like, what the hell? Emotional damage. What have we been doing for the last 4 days? And that was playtesting. 11th edition books are being printed as, I think they're probably printed. Winter should go to China and try and get one. Get out of here. Get to China. They do print them in China, don't they? All the miniatures are here, but all the bookie books are in China. Are they? I think they are. Yes, he says, just looking at a book. Let's look at another book. Yes. Where are we? What are we talking? G-Dubs commission Winters to co-produce the core rules. That way we know who to blame if it gets heresy shaped. Look, I would love, honestly, because obviously Games Workshop's going to watch this. Where are we? Move that as well. That's distracting me, flashing up there. Look, I would love to get involved in the design of an edition, along with some other people who play the game all the time. And let's face it, if you want to get some good feedback on a video game, you're going to go and talk to a couple of streamers, people who play that game or the previous, 8 hours a day, every day, 5 days a week, 40 hours a day. I mean, no one's playing the game more than them. And also talking to an audience, talking to people and getting feedback. And some companies do that. I said do. And so I think there is some weight in getting some people together who either play 40k professionally and play 40k casually, professionally, and in a room to thrash out what they really want from a game and listen to the feedback and try and put some of that in there. Because 10th edition, let's face it, 10th edition was the tournament edition. I said this about 9th edition. 9th edition is the tournament edition. 10th edition is the tournament edition. Did they even chat? Was there any nods to casual at any point for 40k? Was there any chats to narrative play at any point for 40k? Did we get any supplements, codexes, things for or was it all primaries, secondaries, challenges, things like, is it that, like, say the Amazon TV series drops films, whatever the crap is coming from Henry Cavill, it drops, called boom boom, like Space Marine 2 dropped from a great height, and everyone goes, all the normies are like, oh my god, Space Marine, and they're all watching Bricky's video on the Warhammer 40k timeline explained, or doing reaction videos to Luton, shout out Luton and Bricky, and then all the normies, right, and then they actually went to some of them, a percentage of those people, or people who watched the channels, or people who played Space Marine 2, or then went to play the game. Then went to play the Warhammers, and they went to the store and they got the miniatures together, and they got the card deck, and it was like primaries, secondaries, challenges, twists. What the hell? It just needs some missions. Intro level missions. Narrative stuff. Did we get any narrative? Rue coming off the top rope with the steel chair, gifting 5 memberships. Thank you very much, Rue. You absolute legend. Can we get a round of GGs in the chat for Rue? Appreciate you, baby. There've been a few Crusade books. Oh yeah, Crusade. There has been a few Crusade books. I completely forgot about that. Does anyone play Crusade? More rules on top of your rules. All too competitive for my tastes. That why first half of 8th was no... Right, so good for me. Right. Yeah, we did get... Combat Patrol is an intro level. Some people do play the Contract Patrols and start there. A lot of people do play the Contract Patrols and start there. But for a game or two. But for a little bit. It's like, only a kill team, right? I'll get this thing only for a kill team. And before you know it, you got 10,000 points of thing. I'll only get a knight. I'll get one knight to ally next to my army, and before you know it, you've got 5,000 points of knights. You start off with a kill team box, a combat patrol box, and before you know it, you're drowning in plastic crack, you're down at rehab, you're talking to your doctor, you're divorced, you're living in a ditch somewhere, you're like, I need more plastic crack, I need more, that sort of thing. The pile of shame, you've got so much piles that you can't sit down because your ass is sore. It starts off with a combat patrol, but it never ends with a combat patrol. It never ends with a combat patrol. Is there anyone in the chat who only plays combat patrol, or anyone you know in the chat who only plays combat patrol and never goes bigger than that? I want to see, because if there's someone in the chat who says they only do combat patrol, or only knows a person who only does combat patrol, I'll show you a liar. No one does. No one. It's impossible. Once you've got the crack, give me some more. They're all around me here. I was going to reach out and grab something and show you, give me, but that stuff over there I can't show you, and that stuff over there is partially painted but not finished yet. So we can't show the partially painted but not yet finished Rhino for the Emperor's Children. I'm getting there. There's 2 of them. Don't show this, Winters, because it's work in progress. You haven't even edge highlighted yet. But I said I need a vehicle. So where are we, chat? We only play boarding action because we don't have enough time for big games. That's fine. That's fine. It's not Combat Patrol. Some people only play Necromunda or Mordheim. Some people do. Some people only play Blood Bowl. Some people do play Kill Team. Skirmish games, when you've only got 10, 20 models, skirmish games, fun. Love skirmish games. And then you've got the mid-level games, squad-based games like Combat Patrol. But it never stops at Combat Patrol if you're a 40k player. Never stops. Boarding actions is the best version of tanks. Why can't you show us things? It's on my OnlyFans. Go and check out Winters SEO OnlyFans on Patreon. No, 1 minute. They're two different things, aren't they? OnlyFans is the thing and Patreon is the thing. I am on Patreon. Not that I ever touch it. But there is a Patreon. OnlyFans, I take the hat off. So I'm not going to show you the things with the hat off. Anyone at all knows Crusade or Crusaders? Sorry, no, Combat Patrollers only. Anyone? Possibly. Silly question. They're mainly silly, Red Richmond. They're mainly always silly. So ask away. But what's the difference between Combat Patrol, boarding actions and Kill Team? Kill Team squad based. Kill Team, you have a squad, 10, 12 miniatures. Combat Patrol is a game. The boxes of Combat Patrol that you get are supposed to be points balanced with each other. So if you buy a box of Combat Patrol and your friend goes and buys another box of Combat Patrol, right, then you don't even need the points. You can play those two Combat Patrols against each other. And they even have their own like Combat Patrol detachment things going on, or stratagem things going on. They even have their own rules for the things that you throw at each other. They're supposed to be balanced against each other. Now, having spoke to a few people who have actually tried to play Combat Patrol, they're not balanced against each other. Games Workshop's always tinkering with the rules anyway. So, yeah, there's some Combat Patrols out there that if you get them, you will be destroyed. And then next year, if you play them, you might win all the time. That's what Combat Patrol is. It's squad-based size. So you have Skirmish, squad-based, and then War Game. And there's many games that do Skirmish size, like Marvel, Crisis, Protogoals. Squad-based size, Bolt Action, and then War Game. And Games Workshop do all three, and so they should. And they should do Apocalypse as well, but we haven't seen an Apocalypse rule set for this edition either, have we? Where's the big Apocalypse rule set? Should be in the main rules, that's what I say. Combat Patrol is awful. Hopefully it gets a spearhead level glow up in 11th. Yeah. Joseph Troon plays Crusade as well. There are a few Crusaders out there. Should we get back to Apocalypse being based on 40k? Apocalypse always was based. I mean, Apocalypse was, if you wanted to play big games with 40k, here's some rules for it. That's what Apocalypse was. And I think at the end of 9th or 8th, so that's what it was. And there was a book. And what the missions tried to... Anyway, they sort of... They had one punt at making Apocalypse have its own rule set. Instead of just 40k... More 40k. There was and they had tokens and they had things and there was an Apocalypse rule set for playing big things. That lasted for about half a year, and then that died a death because Apocalypse is 5,000 points. You and a friend go to Warhammer World and play, or 10,000 points. You and a friend set up in a garage for a weekend, or 20,000 points. You want some rules to help you with some really big missions. There's two things you need out of an Apocalypse rule set. One, something which mitigates against going first. So the second placed player needs some kind of invulnerable save or some kind of protection against first turn charges. And the person who goes second, the missions need to be something that happens at the end of the game. So if you do go first and you're throwing 10,000 points of ordnance down at your opponent's 10,000 point army and you remove 3,000 points of it in turn one, then at least your opponent has the option to score at the very end of the game after you've finished all your things. They have the last actions of the game. So that's how Apocalypse should work. And then the other thing Apocalypse should work as well is, and they used to do this quite well, is have stratagems. Well, they didn't have stratagems back then, but they had things which could just clear the board because you want to speed up a 10,000, 20,000 point game. And Titan weaponry used to decimate. And when Titans blow up, they used to do like a 24-inch hit everything, D hit, just pick up everything around them. They used to be brutal. And then you used to have things like triple Vindicators doing, they had a thing where if they shot a thing, then it did a large thing. And basically everything underneath it needed to roll a 4 up, or you just picked it up, whatever it was. And you would pick up the item of terrain if it hit an item of terrain, the 10-inch blast, and just remove that as well. A line breaker squadron would clear terrain and clear. You needed devastation. At 20,000 points, you need a lot of devastation. You need it to be bloody. And that should kick in from turn 2 onwards, because if you kick it in on turn 1, then the advantage of the person who goes first gets to do the things first. There's some things you can do with Apocalypse to speed it up and to make it glorious. House rules for me is we always used to, when we played big Apocalypse games, I did a mission pack on it once, you have to bring full units. No 5-man squads running around here. If you can bring all 10-man squads. If you're bringing Gants, you can't bring 10 Gants. You've got to bring the full squad of 30 Gants, things like that. If you're bringing a squadron of tanks, it has to be all the squadron. You have to bring full everything. That helps speed up the game. And one of the rules I stole was from Apocalypse 4th edition, which is combat effectiveness. Once a unit gets down to a small enough size, you just pick it up anyway. Otherwise, in turn 3 or 4, you have lots of little units of 2 or 3 things running around all over the place. And that just slows the game down. Combat effectiveness is a thing. If you've got 3 Space Marines there or just 1 speeder left from a squadron, you just pick them up. You can do that as well. Something to speed up the game. Anyway, Apocalypse, sidetrack, lock into the chat. Welcome to the 13th Tier 3, Sky 3. Thank you very much for becoming a Tier 3 channel member. And if you're not a Tier 3 channel member, highly recommend it. It gets you an extra battle report every single Winter's Wednesday. That sounds perfect for Horus Heresy environment. My Apocalypse rules, it would work well in Heresy or 40k. Work well in both, I think. Yes. You could take minefields, orbital strikes, vortex grenades. All these things. Vortex grenades would stay on the table and just keep bouncing, and whatever they touched, just dead. Minefields, dead. It was big and brutal, and it was supposed to be big and brutal. More importantly, there were some really big pictures and maps and things in it. 4th edition Apocalypse did have stratagems. Were they called stratagems? Strategic advantages. That was it, yes. Strategic advantages. They had stratagems before they were even cool. Stratagems before even cool. Roman tanks had armor values instead of wounds. That's heresy. Still have... Yes. The last Apocalypse supplement was 7th ed, which is crazy. No, I think they did an Apocalypse supplement in 8th or 9th. And it came with these cards and it came with these tokens. And they changed... It was a Yugo... There was a thing about it. I forget. My brain. But... yeah, 11th edition Warhammer 40k needs this. What do we want to see? I'm going to lock into the chat. That wasn't an Apocalypse supplement. It was, okay. My brain. That was something else. Ignore what I said about the thing. That was another thing. We're not talking about that thing. Last Apocalypse was an 8th. It was an 8th or 7th. There was an Apocalypse game at some point. But the important thing to take away from this rambling, incoherent mess is, wouldn't it be nice if there were other mission types in 11th edition other than primaries, secondaries, things competitive, how many points do you score, That's nice. I like getting sweaty. Had a game against Wraith Raider recently. We got very sweaty. It's good. I like getting sweaty. So it's nice to play. So why can't we have both, is what I'm saying. Not one or other. None of this binary stuff. It can be trinary, quadry. It could be many things. Why can't we have Why can't we have? The card deck, for those who want to get frisky and sweaty, and I like getting frisky and sweaty every now and then. Another card deck for Open War, Maelstrom of War. A big book, and in it is Apocalypse and Cities of Death and Planet missions, more Warhammer, more often. That's what I'd like to see. Not one or t'other, more. Everything. Clip that. Clip what? I'll write down the time, what, and I'll check it. It might, if it is a clip, I trust you. The Eternal Crusade has been a member for 19 months. He's been on the Crusade for Dawn and for the Emperor. I want to be able to make some... Thank you for your 19 months. I want to be able to make some truly unique HQ units. Dual-wielding plasma pistol captain with jump pack. Yes, please. I'll pay the points. GW, come on. Ooh. So how many people want to see 40k have a little bit of that heresy love, which is the units have some flexibility outside what's in the box, so you can kit bash a bit more. I don't think they ever do that now. It's like only the box. But who would like to see it? Hi Winters, hi Four Pillars Gaming. Have you ever used campaign Crusade rules with all that? No. I find it quite bookkeepy. That's why I haven't. More rules on top of your rules. Bookkeepy and overwhelming. How could they improve that system? The campaign system. If I was doing Crusade, yes, absolutely would. That's mortal, definitely. Yes, please. Okay, so going back to my previous thing. So a few of you, yeah, I think it would be nice, particularly for captains, lieutenants, librarians, chaplains, that they have the options that you come in the box, but also some sort of like war gear thing on the side. Like you may also exchange this for this and this for this and this for this with points. So you may also take his sword away and give him 2 plasma pistols. So you may also do this, and it'd be nice. It's a little thing they could drop in there, particularly your characters, so you could kit bash your characters and turn them into badasses with a cap. Yes, please, no more monopose. Monopose is here to stay on a rock. What would I do with Crusade? Four Pillars Gaming, it's quite simple. Warhammer 40k Crusade is more bookkeeping on top of bookkeeping. Some people love it. Let's face it, not a lot of people do because it's not as popular as it could be. And I think what the campaign supplement's missing are really good campaign books. And what I mean by that is maps and rosters and pictures and some of those really nice Forge World shots of miniatures and artwork and a place and a sense and a time, like Vrax, like Talan, like here's this location and here's everything you need to know about that location, almost like you were writing it for a D&D adventure. What you want to see in a campaign book, what you want to see in a narrative book, is a lot of narrative and a lot of glorious, glorious artwork. That's what we want to see in the Crusade books. And then at the back, you have a bunch of missions. Some of them can be attack, defend. Some of them can be asymmetrical. Some of them can be symmetrical. Some of them can be set at big points. Some of them can be set at low 500-point missions. And with that in mind, you'd have like 30 missions in there. Because some big ones, small ones, asymmetric, you'd have lots of different things in there. And then as for the rules, there'd be a few extra stratagems, a few extra rules for the environments that you fight in, like on a lava world or on a tomb world or on a thing. Something about it, but very short and simple. And then leveling up, I would ditch that completely. I see what they're going through with Crusade. They're trying to get a bit of the D&D people in, like this unit can do this, and this unit levels up here, and this unit there, and this unit. But do we need that if we're playing a story set in Vrax? Do we need that if we're playing a story set at the First Tyrannic War? There could be, just like there are so many great Black Library books out there, and some that I just recommended again and again and again. And Night Lords, I don't know how old it is now, but it's still awesome. And the Ravenous series, and Eisenhorn, and Gaunt's Ghosts, and Who's that other commissar? My brain, with Jurgen, with the Melter, someone will say. But there's many great books in the Black Library. There could be a library of Crusade books. There could be 50 of them. There could be 100 of them. Because they don't need to be set at an edition. If the rules are about the worlds that they're on and the environments that you're in and the certain missions that you want to play, they could be ageless regardless of the edition. And say there was 100 of them out there, and we'd be talking as part of the community, hey, have you actually played the first Tyrannic War Crusade mission yet? You need to get those 3 books. They are amazing. Have you played the Siege of Thrax Crusade book yet? You need to get that one. You're amazed. Oh, what about the one with the assassins in the space arc? Oh, don't play that one. That one's okay, but it's not as good as this book over here. And there could be a library of Crusade books which just have story dripping out of them like blood for the blood god. That's what Crusade, that's what, if I was in charge, that's what I would do with the narrative side of things for Warhammer 40k. And take lots of the rules out and make it about the story. That could be a clip as well. Write that one down. That could be a clip. Clip that. Solo weapons, lower the prices. Lower the prices. Their year-end thingy-bob came in. Last year they went up 15% profit. This year they went up 16% profit. £293 million profit in a year. £250 million profit in a year. They could probably afford to lower the prices. Armageddon Crusade book. I mean, what? Imagine a Crusade library, guys. Armageddon's a good one from Joseph Troon. I'm saying first Tyrannic War. We can have the Siege of Thrax in there. It doesn't have to be concurrent as well. It can be things before, things in that. There can be the Fall of Cadia Crusade book. Instead of like Pariah Nexus, it's why aren't we doing the Fall of Cadia? Why aren't we doing the First Tyrannic War? What are some other great battles that would make? And I mean, imagine if you had the book as a Games Workshop. It would be like the official, like you have a book and on it is like the First Tyrannic. It would be the book with the maps in and the heroes and the who was there and what armor they were playing, like those old Forge World books. Badab. The Sphere of Expansions Crusade. Badab War, yeah, bring that back. The Beast Arises Crusade book. The Beast Arises. I mean, epic. Have we had a good moan? We're not moaning today, Adams. We're not yelling at clouds. Positive professional. Have we had they did Crusade Armageddon this year, did they? Who noticed? I didn't even notice that one. Did they do Crusade Armageddon? Wow. So there are some people who love Crusade, but there are not very many of them. And some people who came into the chat and said, I love Crusade, but it's really bookery. That almost sounded rude. Problem is, these settings don't have promos. I think there's Storm Avenger books. You can't get Armageddon anywhere. What about Armageddon? Can you get Armageddon anywhere? Plus one internet point for anyone in the chat who can tell me the planet Armageddon's original name before it was changed to Armageddon. I should do a quiz. That's a good idea. I'm going to put that on a thing. We could do a quiz night with the chat, because some of you are lore masters. No Googling. Eleanor, did you really know that, Red Richard and Timothy Fowler? Did you know that? And Felix and the Eternal Crusader? Did you know that, or did you Google that? Honestly, did you Google it, or did you know it? Red Richard said he knows it. Google. Thank you for being honest and saying Google told you. Yeah, Eleanor, man. The Triumph of Olimor, the thing, that's Armageddon. They're drawn back to their line in Friendly Neighborhood Inquisitor. Thanks for gifting one membership, you legend, and thank you for being a member for 33 months. I love you. I love you. So, yeah, I could hug you right now. Thank you. Yes, I knew it. I'm a 15-year-old Orc player. 15-year Orc player. Of course, Felix would know it then, yeah. I mean, if you're an Orc player, you should know about Saga of the Beast. Soon to be Orcs again. Eisenhorn, a narrative campaign with detective agents and stuff. You know, they could do an Eisenhorn... I don't know about detective campaign. You know, like they do the Dark City and the Blackstone Fortress thing. Imagine like an Eisenhorn board game / roleplay game / There's an idea there. I don't think an Eisenhorn narrative campaign, detective segments and supplements. I can't envisage that. Is that 40k? Is that... What is that? But Eisenhorn on the tabletop... And you get Patience Kiss and Harlan Nail and Beckwin, and those are made into miniatures and some sort of dungeon. There's something there. Hi, Iron of the Spoon. Hi, Iron of the Spoon. Hey. Didn't we only learn that Armageddon was Ullanor relatively recent? The first reveal was in The Beast Arises. That's when they let us know. You could call it Inquisitor. They did an Inquisitor roleplay, but some kind of boxy thing, like Hero Quest, but with Eisenhorn and Inquisitors, where the board changes. There's something you could do, man. Also, I have a sneaking suspicion that 11th edition box is going to be called Armageddon. Could be called Armageddon. The rumours are Space Marines and Orcs. Now, I would bet my mortgage... on the launch box, we're going to get Terminators with Thunderhammer, Storm Shields, Lightning Claws. Last box, Terminators. This box, Terminators. Terminators sell. You mean like the Inquisitor RPG that nobody played? I've heard from more people who have played the Inquisitor RPG than played Combat Patrol. There is... a dedicated, particularly when it launched, and later still, I've had people in the studio rolling dice against them. Have you ever role played? Have you ever done role play? D&D? Yeah, I did Inquisition. I've had people say that quite a few times. Quite a few people have played the Inquisition role playing game. Anyone in the chat who played Inquisitor, the role playing game. I know, like March of War and Sam Nash and a bunch of people have played it recently. Doesn't that mean Vulcan comes out the depths of Armageddon for 11th? He doesn't even have to come out of... He could come out of a volcano. He's been atomized before and woken up. I still have the Inquisitor RPG books. The best version is with the White Dwarf character generator. There you go. Inquisitor is a thing in 28 scale. I like some of the new Vanguard sets and sculptures. Yeah. I'm gonna roleplay. Yeah, so 11th edition. What? Was that the one with the biggest... 11th edition. What do we want to... Let's lock in, chat. Lock in. I feel like I've gone off on tangents. So let's lock in, okay? Everyone sit up straight. Make sure you're hydrated. And we will talk about what we would like to see in 11th edition. I'll just deal through this. Someone just mentioned what 11th edition really needs, a custom class. Yes. Thank you, Porkins. Thank you. Haven't talked to Liam in a while. Or say hi, Paul. I did say hi, Paul, on the calendar. He was on the calendar, but came off the calendar. When was the first ball we filled in? One out of Cyberdoc. Right, yes, lock in. Okay, let's lock in. What do we want to see in Warhammer 40k 11th edition? I will focus on you. What do you want to see? What rules changes? Rules removals? Rules additions? Would you like to see? Maps? Claps? Bats and flaps? Would you like to see lots of flaps? Open flaps? Closed flaps? Big flaps? Free rules. That would work. Free rules. Just make them free. Put them online. Make them free. Scatter dice and templates. Don't think they're going that way. Think that's going to stick with heresy. So if you want scatter dice and templates, go that way. Heresy armor penetration mechanic. Yeah, I think that's why. I mean, that's why they kept it in Heresy, like scatters and templates and armor pen. Like the people who really want that game is there for you. It's like when they 40kify Heresy and Heresyify 40k. No, they should keep. Don't cross the streams. Isn't Age of Sigmar free rules? I don't think it is. Give me back weapon skill and initiative. Initiative works. They could stick initiative in 40k. Initiative works as a mechanic. Who fights first? Whoever's quicker. You know, not just the charging models. War gear points. Oh, you're talking my language. Especially where power discrepancy is significant. Yeah, I mean, Devastators should be free with like heavy bolters and flamers. Maybe missile launchers as well. But if you want to give them lance cannons and multi-melters, then you pay 25 points for a unit of 5 and 50 points for a unit of 10. And then you might actually see some heavy bolters and missile launchers again. War gear points. Psychic phase. Yes, please. Oh, you're speaking my language. Love you, chat. Keep the core unit simple. Make character creation for you. Yes. Yeah, character creation would be nice. Want to see new mega knobs. Orc bikers, Gretchen. Want to see orc stuff. We want to see all the things for all the factions, including orc stuff. Initiative in 40k would be huge. It would be nice. It would be nice. More weapon choices. FFS. No idea what that means. Open play to be renamed narrative play. Let's just have a narrative play mission pack. Heavy gravity, limited visibility. Nice. Yes. Bring back war gear points. Yes. Give back individual model points. Not sure they'll go that far. That'd be nice. It'd be nice that you can pay for 5 models or 6 models or 7 models or 8 models. Like it comes as a base and you could add 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 to that thing. That would be nice. I don't think they're going to go that far. I'd like them to go that far. I mean, even if they just brought back, it'd be nice if they had individual models and war gear and but that's something they've rode back on to simplify it. You know, you got to simplify it for the kids because kids don't work. They don't get out there. Don't pay taxes. Can't even drink. Kids, useless. Liam T has been a member for 30 months. Thank you for your 30 months membership. In AOS, they introduced a narrative character builder for each army. Did they? Would love to see that for 40k Crusade. I'd love to see it for 40k. Just 40k. A narrative character builder. Beautiful. Will you ever do a Mega Points battle? You, sir, are a legend. Thank you very much, Porkins. This Sunday, there is a 5,000 point battle between me and the Lawmaster, Luton. Hopefully that answers your question. Kids don't own calculators. No, they don't, do they? They probably don't even know what a calculator is. Who carries a calculator? I'll keep mine in my drawer. My 16-year-old enjoys Heresy more. I don't know where that came from. It's probably because you wrote, my 16-year-old enjoys HH more. So the Heresy, my brain sort of stun-locked in between HH and Horus Heresy. Well done, your 16-year-old. A fact that you've got a 16-year-old and you haven't killed them, that's good. Because the idea is to take the small ones and make them into big ones and get them out there paying taxes. Pay for my pension. Pay for your pension. That's what you want to do. Get them out there, contributing. And so the fact that you've got them to 16, well done. That's 16 times around the sun without them falling off. And the fact that they're playing war games, you are parenting the right way. Phones have calculators. What, all of them? Who doesn't carry a calculator? Exactly. I've got one in there. I mean, how am I supposed to write lists? I want Pandemonium book for 11th edition. Dude, Blake, I know. Pandemonium. It's written, it's done, it's on ice. I think there's such a reveal in there that they've either decided to lock it down and tie it into an edition. And maybe 11th edition? Maybe. and a codex release. It's like, this is huge. So when we finally come around to updating the Custodes, maybe that's going to happen. You see, Dan Abnett went too big. No, I think they're going to lock it in with a release. And I just had an idea of what that might be. But he did go too big. But that's fine going too big. See, all the lore and all the stuff we like the Horus Heresy, like Armageddon, all the core lore started back in the 80s and 90s and early noughties when they let the creators create. They let the artists do the art. I mean, John Blanche invented the servo skull out of thin air. I've seen an interview with him. He said he thought it was ridiculous at the time, and he still thinks it's ridiculous today. And the interviewer said, don't you know how iconic the servo skull is? He said, yeah, but it was a little thing up in the corner doodling. And it's so iconic. It's so 40k. When they let the creators create, suddenly we have the lore. Suddenly we have the art. We have the thing. And then you have this explosion, this foundation upon which everything is built. And now corporate 40k, corporate Games Workshop, have been building on that and building on it and building on it and building on it. And they've been slowly pushing the needle forward with approved message here and approved message there, and we'll do the arcs of approved, like Arcs of Omen at the end of edition, approved as a Psychic Awakening at the end of it. We've been having those things, but those studio-led creations don't have the same bite as when you have Armageddon and Grimaldus, as when you have the creators create. And when they let Dan Abnett go wild, that's a good thing. When they let the artists go wild, that's a good thing. I think they should take all of the moving and the timing and the stories and the moving stuff forward away from studios, away from the corporate fingers, and give it to true creators. People who write for a living. Let them write and move the lore forward. So what Dan Abnett's doing with Pandemonium, it's going to be big. And I think it's going to be glorious. And I think they trust him enough. I mean, he wrote the screenplay for Guardians of the Galaxy. He's written many best-selling novels. If you're going to entrust anyone to move your lore forward, ADB, Dan Abnett, Guy Healy, Graham McNeil, let them. Let them, is what I say. Unleash the beast. You have these geniuses there. Unleash them and push the studio down. Studio, you make the books and you make the rules and you make the things and you make the rules. That you follow them. You don't do it that way around. Do it that way around. Let creators create and let the studios bring those creations to life. Abnett wrote some great Marvel comics. He did. He wrote some amazing Marvel comics. Do you think they'll eventually bring the Primax back? All the Primax are coming back, in my humble opinion. I have no insider knowledge on this, but Primax sell. And I think all the ones who aren't dead are coming back. I think they can continue flogging this beast for a number of years until there's another revelation. And all the Primax are coming back. The End of Pariah is so... yeah, I know. Here's my idea. Here's what I'm thinking. Look. The 40k... What is it called? The design studio. That's it. They have a primary design studio and a secondary design studio. I forget what they're called, but they're not given those names. But that's essentially what's going on. And in the primary design studio, they work on 40k and AOS. And then in the specialist games, that's what it's called, specialist games studio, they work on anything else. And for some time, they've been dividing the streams because there was quite a bit of overlap. And there still is. There's Legends and Imperial. There's some, you can play with some of these from that and some of these in that, but some, and that number's getting smaller, but that overlap used to be bigger. And Custodes were invented for heresy. They first came out for Horus Heresy in the Black Books. They first came out from Forge World. And people started buying them, and people started making Custodes armies and playing them in Horus Heresy. And then finally they were released in plastic and came out for 40k. And then they were taken over by 40k. And now we have this faction, which is a 40k faction that begun its life in the specialist games department that's been stolen by the main games department and can still be played in the specialist game, the Horus Heresy game. So you've got this faction that strides both eras, and they don't want that. They don't want that. Whether we like it or not, whether we think it's a good idea or not, they think it's a good idea to have different models and different things for different departments. So if you're playing some miniatures here, you can't play them in there. If you want to play this one, you have to buy a whole new load of things for this one. And if you want to play this one, you buy a whole new load of things for this one. You just can't buy an army that straddles both. Demons are a good example as well. And that's why in Heresy, we've got PDFs for the Guard, PDFs for Demons, and PDFs for Custodies, because they're hidden under a rug and kept in the closet at the back. They don't want Heresy players to know that you can play with Demons. I mean, there isn't even a PDF for Demons right now in Heresy, and it's Heresy. There's demons everywhere. I read it. There's demons crawling up the arseholes. There's demons up them everywhere, coming out the arsehole. It's bloody, blood for the blood god, poo everywhere. Let me introduce you to my friend, my confidant, Nurgle. Demons up the bumhole. That's where they love. That's where all the meat is. That's where all the bacteria is. That's where Nurgle would love it. Love it down your lower intestines. That's where they live. So yeah, they've been splitting it for, and so what I reckon, focus, lock in, chat, lock in. What I reckon is, there's going to be, they've been updating all the 40k stuff. So we've got all the ranges have been updated bit by bit by bit. New Tyranids, we've had that this edition. Lots of Leviathan, lovely new Tyranids. We've got loads of new Space Marines and new sculpts for Terminators, new sculpts for Stern Guard, new sculpts for this. We're getting new sculpts up the wazoo. They're re-sculpting, redoing everything. What I reckon is, what I hope is this. Pandemonium comes out by Dan Abner, attached to some launch, 11th edition, 12th edition, or a codex. It's attached to a thing. The book comes out, it's attached to the thing, and moves the timeline forward. And there is a whole new codex for Custodes for 40k, and it's all tied in with the King in Yellow and Pandemonium and new sculpts, new models, new yay. It's like, oh my God, look at this. We thought the Custodes were next level. This is the new next level. Now we've got Pariah Custodes. We've got superhuman Pariah Custodes. We've got Custodes. We've got Blood Angels with wings flying off the impossible palace while there's a battle against demons in the dark skies above. We've got Valdor returned, and he is in the codex as well. He's not a Primarch, sort of a Primarch, but Valdor sized. 440k, whole new range, Custodes on crack. And people would shit the bed. And it's tied in to Pandemonium, the third book. And potentially, this is if they really want to sell and make that money, tied into some sort of Amazon thing as well. And it turns out Henry's whole thing is all to do with Eisenhorn and all with that. And it's like, oh my God, I got to get the things. And all new Custodes that way. Then they can take the old Custodes that they robbed from Heresy, put them back in Heresy, give them back to that design studio with new Galatas tanks and Palace Grav tanks and all those dreadnoughts in plastic in Heresy for Custodes for 30k. And then there's two types of Custodes, and then that helps, that fixes the Games Workshop problem, which is, those toys belong there, those toys belong there. We want everyone to buy Land Raiders twice and Terminators twice and everything twice. That's what they want us to do. And so there's two Custodes books. And one is epic on this side and one is epic on that side. Tie it in with a release. Yellow King, Pandemonium, Dan Abner, Amazon, make billions. Maybe that's what they've been waiting for all this time. Because Pandemonium, the book 3 of Ravna versus Eisenhorn is done. It's been done for years. It's sitting, it's waiting. Games Workshop have held it up, ready for some kind of release, ready for some kind of connection. And maybe this is it. Or maybe that's just wishful thinking. Just Craig has been a member for 29 months. Thank you, Just Craig. You're an absolute legend. And if you like Just Craig, and if you like Horus Heresy, then tomorrow there is a battle report with Just Craig playing Horus Heresy for Winter's Wednesday. No, Tier 3 channel members get an extra battle report every single Winter's Wednesday. Thank you for being a Tier 3 channel member. And it's Heresy tomorrow with Just Craig. Demons up the bum hole. That's where they love it. Did I say that out loud, Just Craig? Thank you for being a member for 29 months. Did I say that? I probably said that. A professional stream. We don't say anything inappropriate here. We lock in. This is professional. We're not yelling at clouds. We're talking about what 11th edition Warhammer needs. We're not ranting today. We're being positive. We're being constructive. Blake Anderson, I love you. I love you too. And it's just saying to someone else in the chat, and then I hate you. Games Workshop better not retire the Land Raider. No, hopefully they don't. What they could do with Land Raider, because it's so iconic, Land Raiders, Rhinos, things like that, is just make it a bit bigger, make it a bit beefier, put another plate on it. You know, if they want to do new Land Raider sculpts, in half an inch on the side, an inch on the back, another. Do you remember Forge World used to do like reinforced hulls for Rhinos, for Predators, for Land Raiders? You could buy the thing that's sitting on the thing, and it would ignore armor bane. That's what I want to see in plastic. Who do you think will be the other army in 11th Ed starter box? Who do you want? I hear that it's Space Marine and Orcs. Who would I like? It's always going to be Space Marines. And this time, Space Marines and Orcs probably. Always going to be Space Marines. But when you're asking who do you want, what I would like to see is the Space Marines on the 11th edition box set, or say the 12th edition. Say this one's done. 12th edition box set is the Grey Knight range refresh. So they have Space Marines on the box, and it's part of the launch, but it's Grey Knights. Give them a full-on edition, a full-on love, with all the new models and all the new things, and people would buy Grey Knights they would sell like they sold back in 6th when they got their first full plastic relief, and everyone saw them everywhere. Games Workshop should replace numbers on dice to be symbols so they can copyright them. Don't give them ideas. Raven Guard versus Dark Eldar refresh 11th. You reckon it's Raven Guard versus Dark Eldar? It could be. I hear it's Orcs. Give me my Primaris Grey Knights. Dude, can you imagine? Proper Primaris with, a full Primarisified range of Grey Knights on a launch box with new demons as well. Because the demons, let's face it, some of the old demon models are very, very old. But with new demons, particularly as they found a new way to sell more demons, which is, let's stick all the demons in the World Eaters, Nurgle, Thousand Suns, Emperor's Children. They put demons in the codexes for the named legions, so they sell more demons, right? Because the problem with the demons, and the reason why we haven't had many demon upgrades for decades, is, apart from Be'lakor, anyone else? Apart from Be'lakor, really? Is because they don't... how many events do you go to? Have you seen demons? Pure demons. Demons are rare. You've got to be a proper gamer to have a whole demon army. A proper gamer, that is. And I don't even have a whole demon army. I don't know anyone who's got a full demon army. Demons. Anyone in the chat has a full demon army? Anyone? But if they had a full demon refresh, they could sell a lot of demons because it'd be a full refresh. Plus... in these books as well, so there'd be demons everywhere. With a full Grey Knight refresh, they would make money, and it would take the edge off all the Space Marines that we see all the time standing on the rocks painted blue. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Space Marines now. They're beginning to look a bit samey. Grey Knights are definitely not samey. Want Grey Knights 11th, cannot wait to 12th. Khorne Demon Army. AB has got a Khorne Demon Army, but not played it since 8th. I have a lot of Khorne Demons, not enough to see, so close Eternal Crusader. Close. One person who has a Demon Army. Yes, I do know what. Norn Queen Alexis is a Demon Army. I've never met her, though. And Sved Axfist is coming on Sunday. He's bringing his Slaanesh. He's got a whole Slaaneshi demon army. All this practice against Grey Knights is going to come in clutch when I play them. Demons and Legion books. But you cannot have Legions as allies for demons. No, I mean, that's a whole thing in 11th edition. Like 11th edition Warhammer 40k needs this. What they need is an allies matrix. And they can say, allies matrix is not used for competitive play. Just put that in right at the top. So the sweats don't have a mental breakdown like, oh my god, they could be there. And can you imagine 28 factions plus allies officially sanctioned in competitive play? Oh, they would. Some heads out there would just explode. The amount of mathing they would need to do. But yeah, just a line. Here's an allies matrix, which is not used in competitive play. Here's how to use allies in Warhammer 40k. And like the squats, they can hang out with the blue guys. What are the fish people? What are they called? Tau, they can hang out together a lot. Tyranids can hang out with Genestealer cults a bit for the first or second day of Ascension. Third day, then they're food. You know, all the Imperial. You can have an allies matrix. Who? It doesn't even have to be a matrix. It can be Imperium can ally with these guys. And here's some that they can do in exceptions, but here's the punishment if you do that. I said do. And then Eldar with all their friends, you know, an allies matrix would be nice. If I could take X amount of guard with my Templars, I would spend. Yeah. It just sounds like it would print money, right? If there was an allies matrix and you were allowed to add up to 25% of anything. Legally, just not at competitive events. How many people? Oh, it says 50%. It says 50%. Who cares? 50%. Why does it have to be 25? 50%. Why can't I have half guard, half Space Marines together when I'm playing a 3,000 point game? And there's rules for it. I've read that book. The guard and the Space Marines turn up. Actually, if it was lore accurate, it would be 2,999 points of guard and 1 Space Marine. But they're not 1 point. You get what I mean. Ally Space Marines with Tau. In extremis, you could have an allies mate, right? Space Marines do ally with this and AdMech and Custodes, and they ally with Sisters, and these are the ones they ally with. In extremis, they can ally with Tau because they were both on a world that got attacked by orcs at the same time, so they fought back to back, side by side, to kill the orc. I mean, the Blood Angels and the Silent King, the Necrons, they had a fist bump. They met on the field of battle and killed lots of bugs. And then at the end of it, they were like, okay, fair enough. And walked. Dante turned and walked calmly off into the sunset and didn't nuke any of those Necrons. They're in extremis. But here's the downside. Here's the thing. Like, 2 units may not be within 6 inches of each other. If they get within 6 inches of each other, you need to pass a leadership test. If you fail the leadership test, they're pinned. And they can't move, shoot, charge, do anything. They sit there. They'll react if they get charged or shot at. But they're too busy looking over their shoulder at those sneaky blue people over there. That sort of thing, you know? Is this something you'd homebrew for the channel? Dude, I just throw... I mean, on Sunday, there was Death Guard and Emperor's Children. I just... Play 40k. Play 40k your way, people. If you want allies, bring along allies. But when Games Workshop write the rules for it, it kind of gives people permission, right? And then you see more of it. And then people spend more money on more Warhammer more often, spend more money. Narrative gameplay in 40k, we can't have this. Remember when you could mail order the armies that showcased in White Dwarf Bat Reps? Could you? Was that a thing? I had an Ultramarine army with allies Cadian. Nice. Dante did not, in fact, use melter charges. What we really want is 40k Winter's Edition. I mean, obviously, if I was in charge, if there was Warhammer 40k Winter's Edition, I'd be a trillionaire. It would just be, people would play with Warhammer more than they played with Lego. Obviously. That's all the world needs is Warhammer 40k Winter's Edition. I would make the money, yo. 40k is not Burger King. You can't have it your way. What? Do you think that they should change Battleshock rule? Yes, I don't think. It's not. That's terrible. I like it. Yeah, they haven't known what to do with leadership, Battleshock. They haven't known what to do with they haven't known what to do with psychology since 8th edition. The whole thing and Battleshock, and you can't use strats, and it's not great, is it? It should be more meaningful. There should be a punishment if you fail. I like the idea of pinned units. I like the idea of some sort of gameplay restriction rather than, I can't score that. Oh no, I'll just spend a CP and I can score it. I'd like some kind of... that's what Heresy's all that. Heresy 3rd edition's all about that, right? It's hey, this game isn't all about killing. It's about stunning, suppressing, stasises. Put the stasis on. They leaned hard into the stasis side of things on Heresy. Because there's more to a war game than just shooting heads off your opponent. Shooting the head off your opponent, Blood for the Blood God, is good. We like seeing brains explode. We like nuclear weapons. We like exterminators. We like war in our Warhammer. We like all these things. Including, but not limited to, genocide, nuclear Armageddon, zombie apocalypse, the end of days, the whole unit, the Great Rift, the end of life. It's not limited to all the destruction. Is also a bit of scare. Is also a bit of pinned or falling back or routed. Is a little bit of heresy. Not heresy, but a little bit of that mindset, so that failing a Battleshock test does something on the table. Your men run the other way, or your men are stuck in place, or they can't hop up and down and play basketball. It's something other than... And also not having a strat where you can just suddenly unpin them. It's like, if it happens, it happens. That would add a whole new gameplay mechanic, stratagems to... And it feels like a war game. Like if you're fighting on the front line and Bob, you're your little Cadian and there, and Bob suddenly has got a hole in his head, you might decide to hit the deck because you don't want a hole in your head. I mean, you might have a hole where the earrings are, but that's all you want. You don't want a third one between where the earrings are. Plasma explodes on ones again. Exactly. I like the random stuff. I like vehicles exploding, plasmas exploding on... I like it when bad things happen. There can be more bad things happening in a war game because it'll happen to me and happen to you. It'll all level itself out. I can laugh at you when your tank blows up and wipes out half of the unit next to it rather than just a D3 mortal wounds. But it's a big Primaris guy. He's got 3 wounds anyway. He takes 2. He's not even dead. He was stood next to a tank that exploded. That Primaris guy shouldn't take 2 mortal wounds of the D3. The half of that unit, I don't care if he's in Gravis armor, should be smeared 10 feet away across the other side of the battlefield over there when the tank explodes. I want my explosions to be explosion-y. I like the 1s. I like the 6s as well. I like this dice rolling. We like rolling dice. When I roll 4 1s, I want it to be really bad. When I roll 4 6s, I want it to be really good. I like my flyers usable. I like flyers usable again. When will we see the ride of the Valkyries coming down from on high one more time? When? We need flyers back. That's a good thing. 11th edition Warhammer 40k needs this. Flyers. Meaningful flyers rule. You can hit on fly. There's no negative to shooting an aircraft. Apparently, if I hit on 3s, when I'm propped up on a sandbag at a dude over there, boom, I hit him on a 3. Apparently, if I'm running under a tree with a flyer shooting overhead, I also hit that on a 3. That's not right, is it? Flyers should be 6s to hit and reintroduce Skyfire. They've got lethal hits, critical hits, devastating wounds. They've got all of these things, assault weapons, heavy weapons, pistols. They could have another one called Skyfire. And there are certain weapons in all the codexes. Of course there are. There's already weapons in all the codexes that have Skyfire. And those ones, everything else, shooting at flyers, hitting someone 6s, unmodified. I don't care if you're a Custodian or a Gretchen. It's more luck. It's more... You might have a better weapon if you're a Custodian than a Gretchen. But if you want to shoot an F-16 going over your head, it's more luck than judgment. Unless you have Skyfire weapons that can lock on. Hydra, turrets, flak missiles from Devastator. There's all sorts of Skyfire. And just put it in the codex. This weapon has Skyfire. When it fires into the sky, it fires at full ballistic skill. And then you'll see flyers come back. Because most of the time, flyers aren't getting hit by most of the guns. It'll be about positioning again and trying to get the thing on the thing to shoot the thing. Flyers back, Skyfire. Hot take, tournament play is boring. Make it narrative, chaotic and fun. Hot take, tournament play is tournament play. And we can have narrative, and we can have chaos, and we can have both. We can have narrative games, and we can have tournament play. And in the tournament mission pack, it says when the thing explodes, it only does D3. You know, all these explosions do narrative restrictions. We can have both. Tournament restrictions, narrative, both. The core rules of 40k are big enough to sustain competitive play, narrative play match. It's all the things. Make anti-X effect hits. Yeah, you could have an anti-X, anti-flyer. Yeah. Add anti-flyer. That's a good idea. Make all Space Marines able to take Corvus Black Stars. Is that what Crusade is? Agreed. Make it up. Do you think they will maybe do complete reset in 11th or 12th Hero Hammer like Heroes? Legit. The rumors are that 11th will not be a reset. 10th edition was a reset, we had indexes. 8th edition was a reset, we had indexes. 9th edition, no reset, no indexes. 11th edition, probably no reset, no indexes. Which means that they might be going on this 6-yearly cycle of resets. So maybe we had 8th and 9th, and then reset 10th indexes. And then we're going to get 10th, 11th, and then reset 12 indexes. Maybe that's what they're going for. The rumors are 11th is just a refresh of the main rules, a tidying upness, and not a full reset. And then when the codexes come out, I suspect that we're going to have some war gear options added back to the points at the back of the book, because when you check on their things, that's the number one thing people are like, oh, 1 point. Inchin, hello everyone from Tenerife. Wow, I bet he's smashed right now. Hi Inchin, hope you're enjoying Tenerife, mate. Whee! I missed the customization from 4th narrative, thematic list, wargear list for characters. Yeah, customization. They took a lot of that away. I mean, they took all of that away from 40k, put it all in Heresy, and took a chunk of it away from Heresy as well. Games Workshop are definitely moving in the direction of, if we're not making it, you can't have it. Full Death Watch range. Are Death Watch even a thing still? Isn't it just Legends now? I mean, Death Watch. They were on Space Marine 2. Do you know how many people bought that game? Wasn't it 2 million? There was a lot of people who bought that game. Millions. And there'll be a percentage of people who played that game who want to stay in there and want to have the Death Watch. But where's the Death Watch? There should be Death Watch. Inchin. His wife is reading a book in Tenerife and he's having a Cobra Libra. It's just, it doesn't get any better. Unless you have a paintbrush behind one ear and you're also studying a miniature. I want my Harridan to have more than 10 toughness. I want Titans to have more than a 3-up save. If 2-up save was invented for anything, surely that was invented for a Titan. Guard Hydra has anti-fly. Exactly, anti-fly. Well, yeah, so you have anti-fly. Anti-fly is the thing. There's many things that have anti-fly, but have a rule which is aircraft in flyer mode need 6s to hit, unless you have a weapon that has anti-aircraft or anti-fly. Anti-aircraft, anti-fly. You should call this stream Old Man Yells at Sky. Have I yelled? I don't think I've done any yelling this evening. I think we've had a professional, locked in, focused, reasonable chat about the 40Ks this evening. I don't think we've done any yelling. I'm hyped for the new Death Watch Kill Team. I tried to get the new Death Watch Kill Team with Sultan because I wanted the Necron half and he wanted the Death Watch half. And yeah, that happened. I'm off work this week, so enjoying easily, almost a full sentence, but I'm easily the best wargaming channel. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm not. I am a wargaming channel. You've been yelling this whole time. I have not been yelling this whole time. We've been sensible. We've been locked in. We've been hydrating. We've been talking about what 11th edition Warhammer 40k needs. There's been no yelling at clouds. There might have been at some point a slight yell at the chat, but like now there's a little bit of yelling at the chat. Actually, scratch that. There's a bit of yelling at you, Cultured American. No yelling at anyone else. No yelling has occurred this evening. We barely swore either. I didn't talk about Nurgle up the bumhole. This is cultured and mature wargaming channel. I can hear you on the other side of my house. Listen, definitely not a gator. You've got a very small house, okay? Some would call it a shoebox in a gutter. Lucky for you, you've got a gutter for the shoebox to. When I was a lad, we didn't even have a shoebox. Gutter? Huh. I lived under a bridge. And it wasn't even a whole bridge. The top had been blown off by the Eternal War, okay? I lived in the rubble under a bridge. I dreamed of a shoebox. And you have a very small house, which is why you can hear it. Cultured UK. Honestly, pal, you are very humble. I watch a few of yous. But Porkins, thanks, man. Look, I'm not usually. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. You'll make me blush. I'm used to getting shat on. Just do it. Just like this. Look, down the river in a van. Import what? Try again. Hello, sir. Winters is the stig of the dump. See, like that. That's funny. It's Sullivan Gilbert. Finally, someone's in the chat who's older than I am, who's going to raise the whole IQ of the whole channel. Good. I'm glad you're here. Can you sort these guys out? Lived under a bridge, walked to school in a blizzard, 10 miles uphill both ways. Walk to school? I'd love to be able to walk to school, but I didn't get my legs through the mail from Amazon until I was at least 12 years old. I had to crawl up that hill until I got the legs attached. Crawl 10 miles, 12 miles through the snow. We're English, we don't like compliments. Exactly. It's much better to just shit on everyone all the time. We're better at that. Just to balance it out, Winters, you're rubbish at rules, thanks. Tried some Jaffa cakes, by the way. Did you, Cultured American? Marks out of 10 for the Jaffa cakes, please. IQ, maybe not. Volume, definitely. Had to wait to get my arms before I could crawl. You had to wait to get your arms before you can crawl. I remember waiting for my arms as well, and I had to drag myself to the supper table by my chin lap. Like that. Across, drag this whole weight just so I could flop on the side and lap the gruel out of the bowl. Arms, I got them after my legs when I was 20. Can't walk to school in Swindon. Mans would get robbed. There's no schools in Swindon. There's just poorhouses and radioactive dumps. Got serious there with with Jaffa cakes. You had a supper table. Look. Some would call it a supper table. I would call it a sharp rock. It's the place where we put the food, and we didn't clean it in between meals anyway. It would just get more grit and more shit on top. We called it the supper table, but it was a boulder. You had a bowl. No, it wasn't really a bowl. It was a cupped leaf, an old leaf, decomposing leaf. Nurgle would have loved it, like a dock leaf. that my mum kept in the cupboard with the other leaves. Haven't been to Swindon, can confirm is something else. Even my mate Fran got scared, and he fears no man, says Inchin. And Inchin's from the north, remember? Someone north came to the south, got scared. It's northerners for you. You had a supper. Well, you'd say it was supper. It was more like, I say supper. That was the name I gave to the meal I got once a year on my birthday. It was a birthday supper. If you had made it toxic enough, kind of cleans itself, because what? Winters, you're basically royalty. I'm royalty down here. I did get stopped at Asda once. Some weird, like, what's going on? She was like, who's that guy? I'm like, I don't know who that guy is. Why is he following us? Maybe it's because I'm famous. And I turned around to him and said, hey, are you following me because I'm famous? And he went, yeah. So let's do a selfie. He went, yeah. In Asda. It was great. In Asda car park. It's only the second time I get recognised in the wild all the time. Or twice. Once at Asda car park and once at Heathrow. Apart from that. But yeah. You had a birthday. Well, yes, I had a birthday. I know I was spoiled with that birthday. So I did, yeah. Law question, Sullivan Gilbert. See, this is raising the IQ. This is why we like Sullivan Gilbert in the chat, because now we have a law question. What bright spark in the Astra Militarum thought that the isoscales trapezium was superior to the wheel? Thorax, nice model, horrible tracks. That's not really a question at all, is it? It's more like James Joyce's rambling daydream finishing with horrid tracks at the end. It's not really a sentence, is it? You're not always recognisable. Thanks. Sometimes I take the hat off. Liam T, I get recognised every time I go to my local gaming shop. There are pictures on the wall. Nice. We devolved into Reeves and Mortimer. We did. Wheels do not go well in trenches. That what? 7 out of 10. What are we talking about, chat? Chat, where are we? What's going on? Okay, Cultured American has had some... Okay, chat. Get ready to boo and hiss. Get ready for this. Cultured American has had Jaffa cakes, probably because I've been rambling on about them once or twice. Just once or twice in the last 3 years. Maybe twice. So he finally had some Jaffa cakes. 7 out of 10. You call yourself cultured. Murica makes better cakes. Get him. Get him. I think that's heresy. I think if you say such a thing in England, the Queen would grab you, take you to the you'd be locked up in the tower. Locked up in the tower for such blasphemy. Is she still alive? I'm not sure that one's still alive. Take a cheesecake over a Jaffa cake any day. Cheese does not belong in cakes. We've talked about this. Listen. This is why you've fled the old world to the colonies, to allow yourself to indulge in heresy like this, but cheese in ice cream in cakes, chocolate in cakes, peanuts in cakes, coffee in cakes, sponge in cakes. Lots of things belong in cakes, but not cheese. And a Jaffa cake is superior to a cheesecake any day of the week, because who eats cheesecakes? I mean, next thing you'll say is you're like a carrot cake, which is just don't even know. Do Americans even know what a cake is? Exactly. They don't know. That's why they fled the old world to the colonies, so they could practice this kind of bullshit. Delicious when soaked in waters of Boston Harbor. I don't know what that means. Jaffa cakes, meh. What? Did you eat them using the correct hole? Red bean cake. What even is that thing? What's wrong with the Victoria sponge? Victoria sponge, grand. Victoria sponge, proper cake. It's even got a proper name. Sounds royal and everything. Crusade, the Eternal Crusader. Well, actually, carrot cakes are kind of good. You're enabling the American, the Eternal Crusader. I expected more from you. They are not kind of good. Carrot does not belong in cakes. Carrot belongs in rabbits. And maybe on the side of a roast dinner. That's about it. Alan Godfrey says I could eat a whole box of Jaffas. Who couldn't? But a few slices of cheesecake and I'm full. Don't even eat the cheesecake. Don't have the cheesecake. Stay away from the cheesecake. I use my mouth. This is Coach American. He's saying that he used his mouth, which is probably the wrong way. May have tasted better going the other way. Cultured, apparently. I've never had Jaffa cakes, but NGL, no idea what that means. The English loving it doesn't give me confidence. Winters, thoughts on a croissant? Love me a croissant. Croissant's nice. Nice butter croissant, pain au chocolat. Croissant is nothing wrong with a croissant, is there? Croissant is good. We could do with a croissant. Better than a cheesecake. Black Forest Gâteau is up there for cakes. It is indeed. Once you picked all the forest off your gâteau. I second that. Then they're not. Stranger Con not is there. That's THEIR. I think you're looking for. NGL. Not gonna lie. The kids say that all the time now. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Have you noticed that? It's slipped in. Like something I noticed being old is like when I was growing up. Is like I'll tell you what I think, or I think we should do this, or someone asks you a question. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, or I think was the word that was the phrase that we slotted into sentences. Do you want a cup of tea? Yeah, I think I'll have a cup of tea. Now it's all about feel. I feel. You know, you can ask someone, what do you reckon about the new patch in Call of Duty Warzone? They'll say, well, I feel that they didn't deal with many of the underlying issues and some of the character skins need to be removed from the game. And I'm listening to this thinking, look, you're not telling them how you feel. That's how you think. So one, it's incorrect talking about all your feeling. One, the statement is incorrect. Two, talking about your feelings all the time, all over the place is just, you should reserved British. We don't talk about our feelings. We talk about thinks and facts. And so it turned from thinking to feeling at some point in the last decade. From I think to I feel all the time. And now Not Gonna Lie is popping up all over the place. It's all over the internets. Like Skibbity and Riz. It's out there. I don't even know what a Riz is. But Not Gonna Lie. I'm not gonna lie, but Not Gonna Lie is everywhere. The phrase Not Gonna Lie is everywhere. I'm not gonna lie, but the phrase Not Gonna Lie is everywhere. And I'm not gonna lie. It's not annoying, it's just confusing. I'm confused. I feel the Torax should have wheels. I think the Torax should have wheels. You're thinking, that's a thought process. You're thinking that the Torax should have wheels. You're not feeling. That's a... How many young people do you know, Winters? I know Sultan. He's like 12. Man's not letting that one go. I'm with you, Gilbert. Not going to lie. Maybe you should just convert one. Aldi's version on penguins are always better than the original. Look, there's something, okay. Penguins have been around forever, which means they can't be beat, like sharks and crocodiles, you know. When you see something on a shelf and you're like, that hasn't changed ever, that means it's good. Like Marmite or Imperial leather. These things are timeless. The good stuff never changes. Penguins are peak evolution chocolate-coated biscuit. They were around before my time, which means they were definitely around before your time. I miss Echo biscuits. No idea. No. Tesco Jaffa cakes are better than the real ones. Just Craig, back of the class, right now. No supermarket own brand produce is ever, even if it's like M&S own brand Jaffa cakes, they don't beat the glory of that tangerine coated lovely cakey biscuit, which is not a biscuit, it's a cake. Pink wafers are amazing, yeah, but I always feel sick when I finish a packet. Dude, last time I had pink wafers, I had a whole packet as well. Bro, we're vibrating at the same frequency. Wait, I thought you were talking about the birds. What birds? You're so southern, Winters. I don't know what that means. I'm not southern. You're northern. Does that work? Just Craig, it's real lonely back at... No, look. Yeah, the Eternal Crusader is... he knows, yeah, when you go to the back of the class, that's where the Eternal Crusader hangs out most of the time, okay? Don't feel under the benches. That's where he sticks all of his chewing gum. Don't lift your legs up. You'll get stuck. You'll get all covered in chewing gum. Bourbons are ever so tasty. They are good. Everything's so small now. That's because you're so big, Inshin. Shrinkflation is a thing. Cream eggs are diddy. I like cream eggs. Frodo, no, listen. You're just bigger, okay? You were this big, and now you're much bigger. Although sometimes you do still look this big, but I think that's because you're very far away. I thought Choco Digestives were timeless. Yes, exactly. Then my niece bought some raspberry ones. They were not okay. Exactly. You can't improve. Like Choco Digestives, timeless. Been around. I think they were invented by the Egyptians. Chocolate Digestives. I think they're that old. They're probably the proto-biscuit. They're like the Thunder Warriors of biscuits, Choco Digestives. And then someone in marketing comes with the idea of, saying, let's do raspberry chocolate digestives, and they're shit. Don't do the raspberry on the chocolate digestives. Again, fruit and chocolate do not cross the streams. We watch Ghostbusters. We do not put the fruit near the chocolate. Heresy. Jaffa Cake McFlurry. Nice. This Baneblade is taking forever to edge highlight. It's very, very big. Not just very, very close. It isn't very, very far away. So is a digestive a cookie or a cracker? It's a biscuit. What kind of snack is Monster Munch? A crisp. Are these trick questions? Pringles are not crisps though. Have you ever seen a video on how they make Pringles? It stopped me eating Pringles, and I like Pringles. I ended up discovering a dry brush edge highlight. It may have been dry brush. Yes. I mean, yes. If you are dry brush, see, edge highlighting are super heavy. Dry brush. They're not crisps. Again, THEIR. Stranger come knockings. They're not crisps. There's a few. That is. It's the same number of letters, but different ones. Is water wet or simply not dry? Water is wet. That's the old philosophy question. Is water wet? Discuss. did an essay on that. The answer is yes. Wittgenstein, words. Limits of my language are the limits of my world. Source, Wittgenstein. Whatever winters, it sounds the same. It does. But when you're trying to read it, Americans call crisps chips. Yeah, Americans, yeah, I mean, yeah. You gotta, look. It's tough being an American sometimes. It's tough being in the UK sometimes. It's really tough coming from the land down under, because that doesn't exist. It's really tough if you're from Wales or from Japan. It's really tough all over this big, bustling earth that we call home. Really tough. But don't worry, the emperor of mankind is out there. And one day he will unify the planet. One day we'll be one earth, one species, and we will take off from this dusty little rock and conquer the galaxy and carve out a safe space, free of the demon, the witch, the heretic, the mutant, and the foul Xenos. And we will rule. We will rule this galaxy in the Emperor's name. Until then, it's a bit shit. Could be worse. He could have been born like 1,000 years ago, and then it was a lot shitter. So, with biscuits. Yeah, exactly. We have more biscuits now. Anyway, how long have I been banging on for? 1 hour and 45 minutes. This is your 2-minute warning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your 2-minute hoorah! Thank you, Eternal Crusader. This is why I didn't send you the back of the class. You've been particularly chipper this evening. There's been a few, like, that was good. That hoorah, yeah, that was good. Many-armed Emperor. No, he's only got 2 arms, Weasel. He's not a 4-arm thing. Yeah, 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. French fries are not chips. Preach. But they're a type of chip, aren't they? Sort of. I mean, a proper chip is a proper chip. A French fry is a French fry. They are different things. You're right. They are different things. They taste different. One of them isn't definitely not made in potato. The other one is made of batter. Like chips are mainly proper batter. Heart attack, little heart attack grenades. I need to get in touch with you, Winters, in regard to your Primaris army. What don't you have? Many things. Just thinking the Eldar are out there right now mucking up again. I know the Eldar are out there screwing things up. Have a good night, everyone, says Inchin. Yes, Inchin. Have a good night, everyone. And Inchin, enjoy Tenerife. And we'll see everyone at the end of September. Yes, everyone who is coming to the narrative event on the 27th, 28th of September. I'll see you soon. So a few people have already put in have already emailed me their armies, and they're glorious. I'm looking to see those things. Yes, the end of the death, the narrative event is coming. I'm very much looking forward to that. Up at Element Games in Manchester. I feel that chips and curry sauce is good. Good chat. Enjoy instant. Yes, good. So thank you, everyone. In the grim darkness of far future, give it a... Yes. So I look forward to seeing people at the end of the death. Tomorrow is a Horus Heresy Battle Report. Shout out to the VOD squad. Anyone watching this as a VOD after the show. I see you guys. Thank you very much. Please like, share, subscribe. Consider becoming a channel member if you're not one already. I could really do with the money. White chocolate is the best chocolate. Eternal Crusader! White chocolate is not chocolate. It doesn't count. Don't get me on the white chocolate rant. Okay? We were just settling down at the end. It was nice. And I'm not even going to send you to the back of the class. I'm shutting this thing down. Happy wargaming.